All right, homies, take a seat. Got some stuff to talk about. A little bit of a disappointing day, but also I tried my best. So, to be fair, I can't really be disappointed when I'm giving it my absolute 100%. Especially because this is my own fault, but after my night shift last night, it was especially long and just a little eepy. Slept until 5:30 p.m. Unfortunate, but and gym closes at 9 p.m. of course, so I didn't really get in until I had not enough time to go at my own pace. So it was a little rushed, but we made it work, and honestly, I am really, really happy with it. Let me tell you, the pre-workout hit me in the dome today. I was having so much fun. It's really nice to just be fully locked in and have no concern about the effort at the bare minimum. Even if you don't feel it's your best, you gotta remember, I was sick for almost a week, and I haven't gotten to do anything consistently since. Even if I feel phenomenal and I'm doing really good with my shoulder recovery, it don't mean I'm the same strength level I was before. It's just not feasible to an extent. But the biggest things that I'm really proud of is, first of all, snatch and clean and jerk went wonderfully. Really glad I've committed to doing the warm-ups this week just to make sure that I'm really consistent with it. The shoulder is just barely sore in the clean and jerks now. No pain at all on snatch. So it's working. The recovery is there. I'm super happy with it. It's just going to take time to really hone it in and allow it to flourish at its own rate. You can't rush an injury. You just got to let it happen. And then if you do the proper recovery, wait enough time for it to truly be at 100%, and your physical body's at its prime, its peak, you can do whatever the hell you want, So yeah, I mean, the technique was nuts. First of all, I was getting some praise from one of the older guys in there doing some hang power cleans as well, and I told him, I was like, I respect the hell out of you, and he was like, why? I'll never touch weight like that. I tried when I was younger, but I didn't do it. Your technique is phenomenal. I'm like, I don't care. You showed up today, man. You're trying, especially at an older age. Man, I appreciate you trying to take care of your knees and keep healthy. I don't care if the form's not perfect. You're doing your best. And it resonates with people, man. When you just give that little bit of positivity that they really don't expect, people love that. People relate, and it uplifts them in the moment when they truly need it. Because you never know when someone is going to need that kind of uplifting, that kind of support. Because for the most part, either people don't know they're in the fields like that, or they have too much stuff going on that's where they don't want to project onto other people that they don't know yet. And to that, as always, like I tell you guys, you always got to try to meet someone new or hit up a homie when you're feeling a sort of way, especially at the gym. You got to give it that effort, because people are going to want to uplift you, man. People always assume the worst in others in the current day. I think it's mostly bias, because the most popular things you're going to see online are the negative ones, because they have shock value. They got that morbid curiosity. But it's when it comes to the grand scheme of the wide majority of people in this world, most people are down to earth, want to uplift others, and just genuinely good people, at least decent people. So it's not like the people around you don't want to support you. They just have their own stuff going on, or maybe don't have the necessary emotional skills or confidence to make the first move. So why don't you do it, man? Just make it. People love it when you talk to them first, especially when you congratulate them on their effort. That's one thing I've really learned. People love hearing that little bit of praise. Anyway, got to the back squat, and man, it felt good. Don't get me wrong. The pre-workout hit. I was feeling really, really good. I was very, very mobile, very, very strong. But I was strong for someone who took a week off because they were sick as a dog. And don't forget, there's a sinus infection. I'm still blowing mucus out of every hole in my body. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good when you lift. You got to sniffle your heart through that lift. And, it's just, I had the idea of again, if it feels good enough, if I got all my prerequisites lined up and I let the ego go, we can maybe try throwing up 475 just as an attempt. Because I'm never going to try a weight that I don't feel 100% confident that I have a good attempt with no risk of injury. Now, mind you, we didn't even hit baseline weight today. We got to 435 and it was fine. It went consistently. The drive was good, but let me tell you, when I hit the bottom of the hole, I could feel my core starting to break. It's never a good sign. You know, when your core starts to break, especially before that last set you got the most hype built up for, you also build up a lot of involuntary nervousness, you know, irrational what ifs. And I'm always going to shove those as far back in my brain as I can in the moment, but it's a bit inevitable, especially when, you know, I had 20 minutes today before the gym closed, when going from 3:15 all the way up to 4:55. Lots of jumps right there in 20 minutes. I was burnt out. So sure, you could say, oh, well, if you had more rest time and you showed up at the gym a little bit earlier, you would have had it for sure. I don't give a fuck. Just being real, you know? It's not about what could I've done differently. Just do better. You know, come back next time, try your best, and even if you don't hit the weights, who cares? Put in maximum effort, that's the best you could have done. That's what you got to tell yourself. Give yourself credit for the effort you put in. Because trust me, the setup, the walkout, and the stability throughout the first half of the squat was excellent at 4:55. When I drove up, I did feel my core just about fully explode in the bottom of the hole, and I was like, there goes all my strength. I got nothing left. Because if I can hold my core together and yell through it, yeah, I can stick through a 30-second rep. But if it's immediately blowing, and if it's not a lighter weight that I'm doing for high reps, that heavy weight's just not going to go. I know it looks like I got close to my sticking point, and I might have gotten closer than I could have felt mentally, but no. In my mind, it wasn't even close to what it could have been, and that's why I dropped it so fast. You know, I didn't want to push it too hard. It's going to look a little fucking goofy when you see it, because I fell back and acted like a little toddler for a second, shaking on the bar, but you see me smiling, walking away. There's no malice toward my own effort. It's just did the best you could, loved life to the extent that you could do it in that moment. Physically, although I failed, which is not a bad thing, more room to grow from, I still felt great, and the Olympic lifts were on point. Let me tell you what, on point. I felt like I could throw some really heavy stuff on Olympic lifting today. So for that, I'm at least going to give it a baseline 9, right on the dot, 9.0. Felt wonderful. That's the kind of day where it's like I have everything I need to have to do the best of my abilities. I just am not prepped at all for any heavy stuff right now. So it makes sense that it wasn't there. Mentally, oh man, dude, I got to give it a solid 9.25. It's a really good day, but not because of the hype. You know, the hype obviously helps. It supplies the passion I have for the things that I do and the lifts that I lift. But the biggest thing I got today was some good reassurance. You know, some good conversation with some good people. You know, just getting to really express myself, kind of like what I do with you guys. I'm used to talking to you guys so much that, like, I normally can express all of my personal bullshit through these videos and then not have to worry about it at all. But, you know, even if you feel like you're completely fine and everything's going good for you, doesn't mean that it's not worth still talking to a homie about your personal stuff every now and then, you know? You never know the stuff that's sitting in the back of your brain until you're 10 minutes into a conversation. And that's exactly what these videos are. You know, you get really into it when you start letting your mind just trail on and trail on and trail on until there's no filler left to talk about, and you have to get to the personal stuff because that's what the brain is going to remember. And it's going to be a little more philosophical, sure, but ain't nothing wrong with that. The biggest thing that I really touched on today was, you know, releasing the idea, you know, stopping yourself from depending on the undependable, you know, those that just, regardless of their success or regardless of their relation to you, you'll know if someone is truly there for you, you know? Everybody does. Everybody's got those people in their life, and everybody has others that they aren't sure about, but know for a fact they aren't that close kind of person that they already know they have. And, you know, personally, I grew up with, you know, just being real. You know, my dad did his best. I tell people all the time, you know, he was an alcoholic and worked so much being a surgeon, but it was mainly the fact of just him not being able to mentally be there for the family, you know? Some people can be your best friend. And I tell people all the time, my dad is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. and he can be anybody's best friend. He can be the party guy of the century. But some people don't do good in family situations, you know, where you have those people that you have to consistently live with and depend on and give support to, you know. Some people just want to run it the lone wolf way and just do it all on their own. And that's not a bad thing, but you got to take that responsibility on yourself and not drag other people down with you. And I had some experiences like that growing up, sure. But, you know, the biggest and best decision I made in my recent adulthood, no matter how young I may appear, was financially cutting off from my parents. And not because I wanted to just say, whatever, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself, I'm a big boy now. It was so much more. It was just really giving myself the confidence that I could live the way that I wanted to and not regret it because of how other people wanted me to live, right? It shouldn't be that way. When you live by other people's standards and other people's comparisons, you will never be able to breach the passions of your own efforts, you know? That's why I love the gym so much. It's what taught me to be self-sufficient in motivating myself. Because I don't need to go online and see people lift heavy stuff or do any crazy thing I've never seen before anymore. I can go on my own page, look at my own lifts, and think, I can't wait to get back in and do better than that and crush that next time. Because I truly just want to be there for the sake of my own personal gain. You know, you can be individualistic when it comes to whatever passions you have in life that are just all on you and your own, sure. But when it comes to the people, you know, I tell people all the time, my second greatest passion is weightlifting, and my third greatest passion is mental health, and that's why I like working in the psychiatry unit. People are always like, well, what's your biggest passion in life? And it's not some goal, it's not some materialistic hobby that I just want to see growth in. It's the people I live with. You know, it's the people that I choose to spend my time with in this short life we have. Because it seems so at reach, you know? I'm 22 years old. I have infinite time, supposedly. But you never know that, you know? You never know when your time is going to be there. And you never know how long the time will feel like it's lasting until you've already spent it all, you know? I had a good conversation with a homie today talking about loneliness and coping with that. And I told her my experience with one of my first really bad interactions with that, because me and my girlfriend had lived together for a couple years, you know, but she got her gig here in Alabama, and I told her she got to move. Cannot be her holding herself back because she just wants to stay with me in a close vicinity. She's got to go. And not that I'm making her, but she wanted to. She only wanted to stay for me, and I'm like, you've got to go. You have to pursue your own passions so that I can support you to the fullest extent and we not step on each other's toes in our future lives together that we can share. And I sweat in my sleep. I don't have to wear anything. I can just be comfy in like one sheet of blanket and I'm fine. The night she left, oh God, dude, you don't know what cold feels like until someone you truly love and care about just disappears. You know they're there, but they're out of your reach now. They're out of your control. And not that I had any control over her, but you convince yourself that you've got some sort of set schedule and set livelihood that when everything abruptly changes against what you may have thought of yourself living up to, it's frigid, you know, to say the least. It's a cold night. I had to wear a lot of layers of clothes that night because I didn't know what that kind of coldness felt like, whether it was mental or physical, I don't know, but I felt it. And there's been conversation between some people I know that I'm close to. We'll just leave it at that. And it's the fact of them continuing to depend on the one person they know that is not going to be able to be there for them in the long run. You know, I always hear, oh, well, when they get their stuff figured out or when they feel more comfortable and stable, I'll ask them for some support because they love me and all this stuff. And I'm like, take your life in your own hands, man. If you're a grown adult and you're out on your own, it's hard. It's never going to be easy. Nobody wants to work a full-time job. But when you learn to grasp your own passions in life, really take them as your own, and flourish within them, you can make any obligation a passion. The psych unit was not my first fucking choice. Let me tell you what. I always saw myself being some big shot therapist, knowing so much about the emotional maturity of man because I grew up with so much bullshit way too young. And you start supporting others in the health field and you realize real quick when it becomes a full-time job to be that person for people, it's hard to be there for yourself. And it's dissuaded me from wanting to be a therapist in that way. I still want to do psychology and support patients in a direct and positive manner, but in one that I can confidently and comfortably tackle without it decreasing my positive environment, Because no matter how good of no matter how necessary or positive of a field it seems, the majority of their interactions have to be negative because that's where it starts. The recovery process is either random or it doesn't happen at all. And it's tough to see people you want to do better just struggle for so long, and then you have to just let go. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is you got to accept the fact that the only person that's going to be there for you is you. No one else in this life is going to be there the way that you can for yourself. My girlfriend is the closest thing that I have to someone that can do something close to that. But I know that in my everyday life, in my the livelihood I want to continue living, the future I want to fulfill, the passions I want to see through, that's on me, not on her. She can be there to support and congratulate me at the end of the day, but I'm the one who gets me through this life. No one else. And so when you're sitting there waiting on other people to give you that support that you don't know if it's there or not, you're going to spend a lot of time waiting and not a lot of time living. But that's more so my opinion. I know people have their own situations. Some people make whatever situation work that they feel is unique compared to the majority, but I'm a big fan of taking control of your own life in the way that only you can affect yourself, And so it's not just for the independence, but it's truly, truly for the sake of enveloping in that confidence, that newfound ideology, that no matter what happens, that mental fortitude, that no matter what happens, you will be able to keep yourself okay. Because everything beyond your own stability is an accessory in this life, Your people and your physical survival are the only things that require that true time one-on-one attention that you got to really dig deep for. Because you can only control so much. So you might as well be the most positive person you can for no matter the sake other than your own. Because that'll be what uplifts other people to the highest degree. When you've got your shit together and nobody's worrying about supporting you, or because it shouldn't be an obligation. People can support you all they want, but it shouldn't be a worry. It should be a want, a desire. And that's where that split really comes in, But either way, the conversation's really, they got to me in a good way. It makes me so happy. I'm actually going to move out of my current living situation soon because there's too many people in this house. Being quite frank, there's too many people, and we're stepping on each other's toes every other day. And even though we can communicate great, and I love everybody in this house, I want some space. I want to control the environment I put myself in. And if we're going to step on toes, take control. Move out. Do whatever you want. It's your life. Take that as you will. Some people are going to say that they're in a situation uncontrollable, but I say that that's bullshit. And not because you're in the wrong mindset, but because you've grown in a way that you fully believe that you're incapable when you are, and you just haven't gotten to experience that yet. It's like when I tell people how to lift or how to recover. You're going to do it your own way eventually, but all I can give you is advice and a positive perspective that might enrich your own unique experience. But beyond that, it's all on you, man. So, do your best. That's all I got. Just love the life you've got. It's not a long one, and it's normally not super spread out. You know, it's hard to get as big a reach as people think they're going to have in life. So just love the small stuff, work with the situation you got, and go from there. You know, it's a new day every day. You can do whatever the fuck you want. That's my opinion. So I'll be back tomorrow. You guys got me for one more day before I rest. I'll do the same Olympic warm-ups, and then I'll hit one more heavy front squat, and then I think it's time to get back on the normal program. You know, I'm not going to start right away getting into the reps and sets volume-wise and progressive overload-wise, but I am going to probably jump back into a week where I do the hard accessory movements that, like, you know, the really technical ones that I come up with for fun during my recovery week, so that I can get confident in the Olympic lifting again with the technique and everything. And then also I got to get used to overhead squat. It's been about 2.5 weeks, maybe more, since I've overhead squatted, and I got to get back to that. So we'll take one more week after tomorrow to see if we can hone in the technique. If it doesn't feel good, we'll keep going from there. I don't care. If I can lift and I can recover, I'm going to take the time to do so. So thanks for hearing me out. I know it was more of an emotional talk than anything, but got to get that shit out sometimes, you know. I love you guys. I'll be back. Bye.